You want me to still call the name for you?
You're not done.
I've done introduction. Call your name, my brother. Call your name.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gabriel Spector and the Comedy Radio's finest. It's good to be back at work. A brilliant Monday afternoon. It did look a bit cloudy in my part of the nation's capital sometime late morning, and I was scared that we're going to have a torrential downpour. There's been a consistent pattern in my area. If the rain lasts for more than 30 minutes, no power supply for 2 days. You know, the other time, sometime last week, my spouse had to, dispose of some bowls of soup because they go bad.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So that's how bad the power supply.
That's how you know that is really, really
bad.
bad.
has been, well, hopefully, because I don't know why it is that when the rains pour down, we cannot have stable power supply. Have you noticed that we cannot have power supply when rain is falling in Nigeria? It's one of those things I still do not understand. I never understood as a child. I just know that in Nigeria, rain and power supply, they don't go hand in hand. So even as an adult, I'm still looking for who to explain it to me like a 5-year-old. But it is what it is. Abuja, thank you for sticking with your passionate radio, 95.1 Nigeria Info. And I hope you've had an amazing day so far with all of the programming events from the beginning, from Morning Crossfire with Itodo down to this point. And we're ready to go.
Yes, and we are going live.
You are not streaming. Going anywhere.
We're going.
You're not going anywhere.
No, you see this go. We are going.
Not without talking about live. Your jacket and your dress. It's either you went out to seal an ambassadorial deal this morning, or you are going on a date after the show.
Port Colin Charcoal Black. Can you imagine? No. Let's talk about jackets, right? Let's talk about jackets.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, let's not.
I'm not putting on the jacket.
I barely mean, as if we didn't both walk into the studio together with your suits.
I mean, but this is amazing. I see the is it right now to say that I see the good work of the big one? Because now people will say, I see the work of your wife in your life. Okay, of the Lord.
Yes.
Because you ladies,
our life.
You ladies are very difficult to compliment. Okay, all right. I'm done.
We're streaming live.
Case closed.
On Facebook and YouTube. Pay no mind to Gabriel.
Go to Facebook and YouTube to see how she's beautifully dressed on a beautiful Monday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
For those of you who are already there, you know what I'm pointing at, so we're good. Okay. It's the big three this afternoon. Interesting way to start the week, looking at some of the stories that we have lined up here. Everything from, as a matter of fact, well, we're looking at the resultant effects of one strike action, while also going to look at what will happen if another strike action does take place. It's unfortunate, but this is the nature of the country that we find ourselves in. Is back to back. We had to drop one particular story. Otherwise, it'd have all just been about strikes and impending strikes and doom the strike brings and all of that. But we will go through them anyway, starting with the one that Gabriel is going to share with us.
Indeed. Let's talk about the National Assembly, where the management of the National Assembly has warned aggrieved parliamentary workers against any move to stage a protest or disrupt plenary on Tuesday over welfare demands. So I look at this, I remember quite a number of protests for welfare reasons. Since June this year, we've had different arms of government making one protest or the other. We've had the police. At some point, there were even rumors that within the military ranks, some members of the Nigerian army are disgruntled and would rather protest. But we know that things are a lot more controlled in that space. And then we talk about lecturers. We talk about ASU. ASU is still somewhere breathing down the neck of the federal government at the moment. We talk about the Nigerian Medical Association. That's talking about doctors
Resident
now.
Doctors.
Resident doctors, I meant to say. NMA. So here again, we have the National Assembly. Now, reporters report that senators and members of the House of Representatives would resume plenary tomorrow after their annual recess. But there are threats by some members of the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASAN, that they intend to embark on protests over alleged unresolved welfare and constitutional issues affecting them. However, a circular by the Secretary, Human Resources and Staff Development, SN Ayo SN, on behalf of the clerk to the National Assembly, warned that any attempt to disrupt legislative activities will be met with severe disciplinary measures. Quoting here, it says, it must be emphasized that membership of PASAN or any union is entirely voluntary. Any staff member, whether an executive or regular member, who is dissatisfied with the conduct of union affairs may freely withdraw their membership in accordance with established rule. And then the report goes on and on. And he directed the self-styled concerned PASAN members to desist from the planned protest, saying any defiance will lead to severe disciplinary action. I don't know why that word keeps coming up like that. The circular explained that within 7 months of assuming office, the current management has embarked on several administrative reforms aimed at improving efficiency and boosting staff morale. So this is exactly where we are as far as the National Assembly is concerned. But I think of this, Somi, and I'm wondering, few weeks ago now, Nigerians who follow the news would bear witness. There were reports of calls to improve the package, the salary, the base salary, particularly of lawmakers in the country, owing that it has not been reviewed since 2008 or 9, one of the two. And some people made arguments for and said 2009, I think it's 2009, that since then, if a lawmaker's salary has not been increased, whatever he was earning then does not have the same value as if he was earning, let's say, $1 million. $1 million in 2009 is about, say, 400,000 naira now in value, not in the amount. So there are reasonable calls for us to increase the payment or the base salary of lawmakers. But we made arguments. This was the months ago. And said, you see, we have seen them. Well, but then we've asked over and over again, use the FOI and other media ask, let us have a clear, transparent view of the take home. Now, I said all that to say this. Let me bring it home, circling back. When we have lawmakers who are asking that their pay be increased, we have lawmakers who take home bountiful allowances and pay at the end of the month accumulatively. And then we have members, workers of the National Assembly who perhaps they have been disgruntled to the extent that they're now looking at a protest. You know, it just goes to show the same thing we have been saying over and over again. The lack of sensitivity to the welfare of Nigerians. Now, this goes to show that it's not just even for the
conversation.
It's not just for the regular masses that stay the normal citizens. These are workers of National Assembly. Let's go for this commercial.
This is Kids FM, the family fun radio. Kids FM is packed with exciting drama and Kids FM is fun for children, cool for teens, and just perfect for parents. It's more than radio.
It's packed with educational content such
are the continued issues that we have? Now, looking at the report a little further, it says that some concerned person members had, in a letter dated October 3, 2025, and addressed to the clerk of the National Assembly, accused the management of harassment and intimidating its union members, demanding transparency and adherence to the person constitution. The petition, jointly signed by MC Odo, Yusuf Mohammed Abiola, and Chinaye Peace Nda, alleged that workers were being queried, self-query, and threatened with suspension for insisting on the presentation of audited accounts to the Congress as required by the union's constitution. So it reminds me of a particular media organization, a very big one in this country. In fact, if I give a little clue, many people listening will know what the organization I'm talking about, but I wouldn't do that. And I remember that I was being owed, I think, 8 to 9 months salary, right? And I was running a business on the side, so I was using the income from that business to keep funding going to work, right? And at the point, I just thought to myself, this is not sustainable. What am I doing here? Meanwhile, according to the handbook given to me upon my contract employment given to me, I cannot resign without 1 month leave of notice. Those that have resigned, there's the history. They never get their pay back. The ones who are still staff, they've not gotten their pay. The ones who are staff have not gotten their pay. Is it you that has left that wants to get paid? So if you leave, it's worse. There's no hope. So why don't you just stay?
You eventually left, huh?
Yes, I eventually did. And I've not gotten, maybe I'll get tomorrow morning. So you cannot flog someone and tell the person don't cry.
So I think for me, the key thing in this story is, who are the people threatening disciplinary action against the members of this body? From the story here, I think they first issued a petition on the 3rd of October.
Yeah.
And then following that, they were sort of dissuaded from going ahead with whatever the plan was. And then a circular by the Secretary, Human Resources and Staff Development, SCN, AO, SCN, on behalf of the clerk to the National Assembly, Kamoru Gunlana, warned that any attempt to disrupt legislative activities will be met with severe disciplinary measures. So, if I'm not mistaken, what it is members of the same public service institution are the ones threatening action against their own colleagues. That's what this is. Yeah.
That's what it says.
That's what this is.
According to the report.
So it is not even necessarily a case of the legislative house. I assume that some way the legislative house would be aware of what is going on here. The members of the National Assembly, fine and good. I mean, it's not new that they're not really as in tune with the plight of Nigerians, whether it is the doctors, whether it is name it, any union at all. You don't really see instant action or a lot of commitment to resolving whatever the issues are. So I'm not necessarily surprised that this is happening even within the parliament and their staff. But my concern is it is the likes of the HR and the other people who are not even necessarily the ogas at the top that are dissuading these people and threatening disciplinary action against them for going ahead to do what it is that they say is their right.
My issue with institutions like this, I have quite a number of an experience or quite a number of experiences with public institutions. I feel that it's one that we need to just keep observing and see how things pan out. I promise you may not get more information in the public domain more than what we have already seen.
Fine.
Because ideally it would have been perfect to have the warring parties sit down, perhaps even invite them to the studio and say, gentlemen, what exactly is the issue? But you see, as it is, public servants often shy away from speaking against their principal.
Yes, because things like this, in principle, there are threats and all of that communicated to them, will make them pariahs.
In principle, it is ideal. For example, I'm a staff of Nigeria Info. Right? If I have grievances with Nigeria Info as two parties, it is not for me to go to the street and begin to shout. I just head to the management. But when the management is victimizing me, is making the work conditions harsh and unconducive, it becomes a problem. But still, in Nigeria, you would hardly, before you find a public servant who is willing to speak up and say, this is exact, and put his name on it, it's very hard. So if you go to, because, now we're just speaking based on what we have read. The National Assembly is not far from us. We can always just take a drive and just have, a few conversations. But you would not get plenty information. And it goes to show that two things, like I said, in principle, that's what it ought to be. But it goes to show the level of victimization, fear, lack of, they say that it's a civil service that there is job security in Nigeria. But it will shock you that there is still victimization in high level. Some people, where they are seeing small change, they can easily run away from the office to go and do their business. The line manager or the immediate boss say, hey, so you are the one that has stronger Dabi, don't worry, I'll deal with you.
No, but ideally, if you're employed to be in the office, you should be in the office.
But, yeah.
You shouldn't be taking time out to go and do small
in
things. In
principle, you are correct. But we know what is obtainable. But in practice, it is correct. But they say, you are the one that you are the Aluta continuer, Abi. I will deal with you. They throw the person to one department where the person cannot see the light of day. And you see, these things are the things that happen in our public space. You see, it's a lot of work. I was listening to Bishop Matthew Kuka, and he was speaking about Singapore, yes, Lee Kuan Yew, and he was talking about how he employed PhD holders, equivalents of PhD holders in the public space, knowing full well if you are going to deliver, a product, fast-paced delivery, you need a vehicle with a strong engine. So you can design the vehicle to make it look beautiful. If the engine is not strong, if the engine is weak, it can only carry you as far as the engine can go. And that's exactly the problem with the public space in Nigeria. So it's a vicious cycle, Somi, and I don't know if it is one that we are exactly ready from the body language of the governments, from the news we keep seeing every day. I don't know if we are ready to begin to resolve these public space issues.
Okay. Lots of issues to resolve there, just as you've rightly mentioned. But let's shift gears and take on this other one and then the final one so that we can open up the phone lines and get Nigerians talking. This one also, like I said, resultant effects of strikes and all of that. NNPC is blaming Pengasan for the soaring price of cooking gas as it currently stands at 2,000 naira per kg. Biojulari Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPCL says the recent rise in the price of liquefied petroleum gas, popularly known as cooking gas, is linked to the recent strike by the Pengasan. Ojulari spoke to State House journalists on Sunday after a courtesy visit to the president and, just looking at all the issues. At several retail outlets around Amuodofi in Lagos, the price of the product rose to about 26,000 naira for 12.5 kg. That's an average of 2,018 naira. Well, that's 2,018 naira per kg, not an average. You have other places selling for 2,002 per kg. Some of them, I think the lowest, according to this report, is about 1,600 per kg, and that's around Duse Axis. And this new price...
This is Duse?
This particular 1,600, according to the report done by the cable.
Wow.
So this new price, I'm thinking now we can say is averaging about 2,000 from these different figures here, represents about 48.57% increase from the previous rate, where you typically get 12.5 kg cylinder at about 17,500. So he is, however, urging Nigerians that the surge will ease up soon. And it was because of the strike period where, they cut off supplies and all of that. And, it just affected a whole lot of things altogether. I think one of the things that was also affected was the power supply. So I don't know, maybe that's part of what's dealing with you in your area.
Yeah, it's really dealing with us.
Partly, yeah. But after the federal government's intervention in the strike, of course, and Dangote agreeing to redeploy the affected workers, we're starting to see, according to Ojulari, we should start to see things, return to normal. So this is another fallout. In case you've had cost, but I was just calculating when I saw the report. I was like, God, when last did I buy gas? I'm hoping that I wouldn't have to go near a filling station for like another 2 months or so. Probably have to turn down my cooking because this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. But there have been times when it's been high. This is not the highest we've had, is it?
I cannot remember. So fortunately for me, we did a refilling in my home just last week. And I think we did it for 12.5 kg for 15,000 last week.
Very fair.
Yeah. So
even lower than
17. So when I was seeing 17, I'm like, oh, okay. So the guy in my area is actually very, is very considerate. Now, again, these are the issues, and I'm really glad that we're beginning to have some sense of clarity. I mean, I saw a report just earlier today where the vice president at the opening of the National Executive Council meeting stating that Nigeria is bigger than Pengassan. This report's, the front page of the Daily Trust this afternoon. It goes to show the body language of what the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is on this matter, the face-off between Dangote and Pengassan. And I think for many submissions have been made, we spoke even on this show, on our other programs or belts on this station, we've said a lot about this issue. And it is the fact that, Pengassan, we understand the calls for unionization, right? In a country like this, you cannot rule out the place of Pengassan. They've had their bright moments where they've come through for their members in critical situations, facing with multinationals, international corporations that have establishments here in Nigeria. However, on this one issue, again, I say because it is the first time we are having this kind of event where there's a private investment, a private establishment in the mid-downstream sector. So it's pretty new to everybody. It's just like a man and a woman married. The first 6 months of marriage is a new terrain, especially, I believe you got what I'm trying to say. So what I'm saying here is this. This issue is one that needs to be resolved. Everybody has said it. If you are, because of 800 staff in court that you're fighting for, and you have refused supply to be made, the supply chain, you've halted it at some point. According to what we're hearing, that Dangote is the highest supplier of the cooking gas at the moment. Yes, LPG in the country. So that is sabotage. It's tantamount to sabotage. And it is one that cannot be allowed to continue. And so, again, I cannot sit here and say that what they are calling for is irrelevant. I cannot say that because we've been in this country before where some people have decided that they want to take advantage of Nigerians. These are some of the unions that came in and fought for their members. And that's the honest truth. I mean, it may sound, some people don't like when it is being said, but that's the truth. But on this one issue, they might have to take a second look in and ensure that they are not trying to uphold. It doesn't look like vested interest, a selfish ploy on their part, where they're now sabotaging the whole of the country for the sake of, in quotes, 800 people. Does it mean that 800 people are not important? No. It means that in issues like this, then they must look for a way to arrive at a better compromise where, while they're fighting for 800 people, in quotes, they are also not sabotaging the economy. That's my position on this issue.
So to me, I think the two stories that we've shared just draw some interesting parallels for me. Because on the one hand, you have a person at the National Assembly who is saying, look, the way we're being treated is unfair.
Yeah.
Our constitution is not being adhered to. Certain things that we want to do, such as submit an audited report of, flows and all of that, we're being threatened not to do it. And I can imagine if they did go ahead with their strike tomorrow, it will interrupt plenary. What does interrupting plenary look like, or disrupting, plenary look like? It could mean that the people who need conversations to be had on the floor of the Senate and the House of Representatives, for example, that would influence, outcomes, policies, and all of that, could be affected. Imagine that Passan went against or disregarded the threats by the HR and what have you on behalf of the Clerk of the National Assembly, and went ahead to conduct, for example, a 5-day shutdown of the National Assembly. Imagine what that would do for the country.
Yeah.
I mean, for the legislators, it's probably extended holiday and all of that.
For lawmakers, we are hoping that they'll come back to work.
Yeah, exactly. So for them, it's probably an extended holiday. But in the actual sense of things, what they're doing is interrupting conversations that should be had that will affect the nation at that level, right? Imagine if they went through and shut this down. And then you put that side by side to what Pengasin did, because for them it was a case of, look, we've tried to reason, we've tried to do this, we've tried to, our agreements have been violated, and so we have to go to this level to get not just Dangote's attention, but the attention of the nation as a whole, and we see the resultant effects of things. But for me, it's a case of, why can't the simple things that need to be done in the first place, so that we don't have a country that operates solely from a striking position? Oh, we're on strike for us to get our issues heard. Look at what Passan raised. Very valid, very, very valid things, because, I mean, it's affecting the entire process as far as the National Assembly is being run. If they want to submit audited reports and they're getting pushed back from their superiors and all of that to say, no, don't submit this report. It means a lot. It means a lot for them to be able to suppress that report that they want to put out. And so it's about finding the balance somehow. I don't know how we're going to get to that point. First and foremost, as a country, we're always not doing things right as they're supposed to be done when they're supposed to be done. So you now have this entire administration, for example, has been riddled with so many of these things. This strike here, strike here, strike here, strike there. And it's about finding that balance so that it doesn't get to the point where whether staffs or union. I mean, look at what the circular that was put out at the National Assembly. Look at what it said. It went ahead to sort of, and again, I just thought about the Dangote dynamic.
Yeah.
It went ahead to say that staff are not bound to join a union. It's not compulsory. So in a way, it was like saying, look, for you to, be free, or for you to not be found wanting in the area of this planned strike, perhaps, because that's the tone I got from the letter, perhaps you might want to consider removing yourself from anything called the union, because as they called it, self-styled union. So it is a case of a country where our systems, our institutions, we have people at the helm of affairs who refuse to do what is right, and then push people, it will seem, maybe in some cases, maybe not in all cases, push people to the point where they have to take drastic action, and then they are now being sort of like put down or made to seem like, oh, if you try this, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It is the story of Nigerian and Nigerian institutions at so many levels. Look at the pensioners that went out to strike. And at a point, I think they now organized, I don't know what it is that they called it, where you had to show up. It wasn't the pensioners, I think it was police officers. They now had to show up at the offices so that they will not be part of the strike. It's just this whole cycle of you called it victimization. That's one way to look at it. It's another case of abuse.
Well, abuse happens on many levels in the country.
Okay. Let's take some calls. We still have one more story, but we want to get your thoughts right now so that we don't spend as much time or too much time taking up the conversation. Sending your calls, call in and sending your messages. Let's share, and then we'll share the last story. 0700951 0000 0809 597 4869, and on WhatsApp it's 0809 993 0137. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Yes, my name is Ajola Victor from Gitalaji.
Good afternoon, sir.
You see, it is very sad when you see politicians, especially the federal lawmakers, who believe or who say they are lawmakers and are trying to break laws. Every day they make law. They know what a law is or what laws are. And these are the same people who want to break the law. They want to stop the people who are working with them, not to break the law, chopping them with actions or consequences. This is very sad. In ideal democracy, ideal society, like America and Canada, what is happening in Nigeria can never happen in America. It is the right of these people to judge law. They are career civil servants. They are not politicians. They have a commission, a National Assembly Civil Service Commission. So therefore, I don't know why the politicians want to step on their neck, not to judge them. Now, we expect these career officers working with this federal locals to be treated very well, to be paid high, considering what these federal locals are going home every month. Jumbo salary and jumbo allowance and other illegal allowances. These career civil servants know what they're doing. So why will they give them their income? How much are these people taxing that you say they should not judge them? So therefore, I think it is high time we sanitize our policy so that we should not allow all comers. Those who are there, they are all comers. People who shouldn't be in that national assembly are there. And that is why they don't know what law is or what laws are.
Okay.
And that is why they want to trample on the right of career civil servants. It is very sad. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, Somi, good afternoon.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Excellent Spirit. I'm calling from the outside.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I beg, I just tuned in and I heard when your second in the studio, is it Gabi?
Gabriel.
He was about how that the president had done with by intervening on the impasse between Dangote and Bengas. And I was like, it's like we are trying to make the federal government a third party now in the affairs of Nigeria. When it concerns our well-being. As far as I'm concerned, shifting the whole blame from the level of the president. To me, it doesn't make sense. Do you understand? And this Pengasa we are talking about, some people are starting to support Pengasa and all that. And it's the same people that are always calling and shouting about Kabab. This is the Kabab Nigerians are seeing. It's one of the Kababs that has helped Nigerians down for decades. Let me tell you, this Pengasa was one example of what America had in the past. You talk about the life of Rockefeller. They helped Nigeria, America helped them until one day, one Roosevelt from nowhere arose or got raising from nowhere. From then, America began to know peace. See, the man in Ansoro, it will take only one man, one sane man in this country, the whole thing will turn 360. All these Pengasa, New Pengo, Dangote, and all that. My brother, now so we go there here, they cry every day. And nothing will change. I was cooking yesterday. Now so gas finish show. Rice never done. It's 2 steps and halfway. No way. I ran the floor. Thank God my neighbor they sell gas. I had a little money because I never had any budget to buy gas. The little money with me. I sent my children. I go buy gas. My wife they go make my cool. Before I go make my children bought the gas and came. But one thing that shocked me was my children got there and discovered that the price of gas has increased. So the senior doctor, my senior doctor who has little change with her, without reversing to me, had to complete that money to buy it, to come for us to continue.
How much did you buy per kg? How much did you buy per kg?
Normally, I don't even know, but I usually buy 12.5 to the neighborhood of 15,000 naira.
Okay.
So I don't remember the exact amount. But by the time she got to that place, and I heard they are not selling, when they came back, they are not selling it about 1,500 or 1,600 or something. I only told her, don't worry, I'm going to dash you 10,000 naira. And I gave her this money. But the point there is, are we supposed to live in like this from hand to mouth? People are calling on this radio to support either government, Bengas and Odangote. We don't have one voice, and we will continue to suffer. So long as we are divided in this country, there will be no peace because we are being wicked to ourselves.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, excellent spirit. Thank you. So Jewelry, while clarifying on that particular issue, said, of course, with the cutoff of supply and all of that from the Dangote refinery, supply was affected. LPG. And the price was affected. And he said, and I quote, and of course, as you know, in Nigeria, people take opportunity. So within the period where there was a cutoff or the delay, Nigerians, according to him, that had the resources increased the price because, of course, demand had increased. But he says things should return back to what they were before the strike. It is the should there that gives me cause for concern. I mean, we've seen prices of gas go up and down within the course of this administration. So let's hope that it's not a case of people then holding on to whatever profits it is that they're making. Because really and truly, if demand does increase and there's not enough in supply, we've seen that this is one thing that we want to do, take advantage of the situation. So we're hoping really and truly that it should go down. Perhaps what they can do is ensure, I don't know how they do it, if they have regulatory authorities monitoring the prices of these things to say, like what DPR used to do before, where you go, then if you're selling past the approved price, I don't know if they can regulate that, but he says it should go down.
No, I think there's a monitoring body. I can't remember what it's called now, but I do not believe that if it goes down, then retailers are going to still inflate the prices. Because I don't even think there's that much increase in demand. It's just that this is a commodity that Nigerians rely upon every single day.
No, during the period where supply was affected, it became a case of demand trying to catch up with what was available.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hence
Yes. You're right with that.
Okay. All right. Let's see if we have any messages here. Gabby, I know Grio. Should I call this Gabby or Gaby? Because when I say
honestly,
Gabby, I feel like I'm talking to Gabriella.
Hey.
Is Gabby fine? Are you okay with that? Gabby?
Anything works.
Gabby,
please.
I know Grio. What Pengasin did amounts to abandoning 99 sheep while trying to save one lost sheep. Pengasin has never fought for the betterment of the entire populace, if not only for their interest alone. They can't say that they are faultless with the way they grounded our refinery.
No, that's not what I said, Leo. What I said is that they have their place and they have come through for their members.
Yes,
I didn't say the
that.
entire populace.
Yeah.
I said for their members. These are unions that interacted with multinationals in the 1980s, 1990s, when there wasn't even much going on at the time.
They've been around for that long? Wow.
Yeah, they have.
I see. Okay.
Some of these unions.
Let's take a break. When we come back, the phone lines will still be open and we'll be sharing the last story. Stay with us.
The International Education Fair, proudly brought to you by Oak Dexter Education Consult. Meet top universities from Canada, USA, UK, Ireland, France, Australia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada. Enjoy on-the-spot assessments and explore flexible, innovative payment plans directly from the universities. Come with your academic credentials. Attendance is absolutely free. Happening live on Saturday, October 11th, 2025 at John Wood Hotel by Bolton, 6 Sokode Crescent, Wuse, Abuja. Time 10 a.m. prompt. For more information and reservations, call 0808 3809.
To the conversation shared so far. One more story to go. We'll be sharing that after the news. But let's hear from you. Joe from Kabusa says, good afternoon, team. I bought gas this morning in my area at the rate of 1,600 after touring from one cooking gas station to another. It's not funny at all. And Chima from Apo says, good afternoon, Gabby and Sumi. In the psychology of a child, he or she uses the best method of getting a demand from the parents. Most of them use crying as a tool. The only language Nigerian government hears faster is strike. That is why her workers use it. All these problems that led to strike have lingered for a long time, but positive actions were not taken to solve them. Let's do this.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Yes, welcome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is CJ.
Welcome, Mr. CJ.
Yeah. See, Pengasel, Dangote, NNPC. All these things now where they are fighting each other, who is the cause? It's the government, the regulator. I'm always saying this thing when I read a conflict theory by Marx. If we're not a Nigeria, a federal government that are regulating all these things, how can a Dangote tell the union that will not belong to other their worker that will not belong to union? Definitely, as you say, union is always fighting for their people. They are always fighting of their people according to conflict theory. So Dangote, if you look at it, all of us love Dangote and like Dangote, but Dangote does not have it 100% better. Because that is the strategy. I'm a living witness. That's the strategy when he uses Dangote cement. He takes space. He fight all the Ashaka, Ibeto, Boham, rock cement, and take the space. No, because of the cement is available now. Nobody is talking about the price of the cement. That's how Dangote himself say he will fight. And truly he will fight. He get his face. You understand? I know gas will be available, but for me and you, Gabriel, in 10 years coming, in 15 years coming, if you don't take the space as we take the space of cement, I'm telling you, you will see the price of gas. This is just a beginning. I'm not supporting gas or NNPC or anybody, but please read the conflict theory about Hamas, about the capitalism in any nation. Please, because what we are saying is that all this thing is in Nigeria.
Okay.
The gas deposit is many states in Nigeria. So the other time they have to want to lay pipe from Warri to Morocco for gas. And now we are suffering it, and we want to leave it for only one person. Yes, it's good, but it's not good to leave it for only one person.
All right, then.
Honestly.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Joy is here for the news, and so we'll go for that. When we come back, we will wrap up on the third story and your contributions.
Biggest conversations made of